I never imagined that betrayal could come from the person I trusted the most. They say enemies can hurt you, but friends can destroy you without even trying. I learned that lesson the hardest way possible. Her name was Lear. To me, she wasn't just a friend. She was my sister in spirit, my reflection, the person I called at every high and every low. We met years ago in a small coffee shop on a rainy Thursday. I remember it so clearly because it was the kind of day when everything felt grey except that one moment. I was sitting by the window, reading, trying to ignore the noise around me. Then she walked in, holding the same book I was reading. She smiled when our eyes met, and we started talking about how rare it was to meet someone who liked the same author. That conversation never really ended. From that day, Lear became a part of my world. We laughed until our stomachs hurt. We made midnight calls just to talk about life and dreams and everything in between. She had this energy, the kind that filled every room she entered. She was bold, fearless, unpredictable. I was the calm one, the listener, the steady ground she could always step on. Together we made sense. We shared secrets that no one else knew. When she lost her job, I stayed up all night helping her rewrite her resume. When I lost my brother, she held my hand through every tear. Our friendship felt like home, the kind you never expect to lose. We promised we'd never lie to each other, never hurt each other, never let the world come between us. I believed her. I believed in us. But life has a quiet way of changing people. It starts small, almost invisible. A missed call here. A late reply there. Weeks passed and Lear became distant. I told myself she was busy, that work or life was just getting in the way. But deep down, something didn't feel right. Her laughter sounded forced, her words shorter. The warmth was fading, replaced by something I couldn't name. Then one afternoon, a mutual friend called me. Her voice sounded hesitant, careful. She asked if I was okay. I said yes, confused. She told me she'd heard from Lear about what happened with my brother. My heart froze. That was something I never told anyone except Lear. It was my most private pain, something sacred, something raw. I could barely speak. I asked, what exactly did she say? My friend paused, then said quietly, she just said you've been through a lot, that you're still healing, and that people should go easy on you. Those words may have sounded harmless, even caring, but to me they were a knife. My pain wasn't her story to share. That secret was a piece of me, and she handed it out like small talk. I hung up the phone and sat in silence for a long time, trying to make sense of it. Maybe it was a misunderstanding, I thought. Maybe she didn't mean harm. But my heart knew better. I tried calling Lear. No answer. I sent her messages. Hours turned into days. Then, finally, she replied with 3 words, you'll understand someday. That was all. No apology, no explanation. Just those words. I didn't understand. Not that day. Not for a long time. When we finally met face to face, she didn't look guilty. She looked tired. I asked her why she told people my story. She said, people were asking questions. I just wanted them to understand you. Understand me? That's what she called it. But what she really did was expose me. She turned my pain into conversation. I wanted to scream, but the words wouldn't come out. The person standing in front of me was no longer the friend I knew. It was like she'd become a stranger wearing my friend's face. I realized then that betrayal doesn't always come loud and dramatic. Sometimes it arrives quietly, in soft explanations and half-hearted excuses. I walked away that day without looking back. 4 days after, I replayed our entire friendship in my mind. Every moment, every laugh, every late-night talk, all of it now felt different. I started questioning everything. Was it ever real? Was she always capable of this? Betrayal doesn't just shatter trust. It rewrites every memory you thought was safe. I stopped going to the places we used to love. I deleted our photos, but I couldn't delete the ache. Nights were the worst. I'd find myself scrolling through old messages, reading her words that once made me feel loved. They now felt hollow. I'd lie awake thinking about how two people can be so close, and yet end up worlds apart. Time moved on, but the pain stayed. Friends asked if we'd had a fight. I just said we grew apart. It was easier than explaining the truth, that a single act of betrayal can echo louder than 1,000 apologies. I didn't hate her. I didn't even wish her pain. I just wished she had valued my trust the way I valued hers. Months passed before I saw her again. It was by accident. I walked into the same cafe where we first met. The smell of coffee was the same. The rain outside was the same. And there she was, sitting in our old spot by the window. She looked up and our eyes met. In that moment, time froze. She smiled, a small, nervous smile. I didn't. My heart didn't race. My hands didn't shake. There was nothing left to say. I walked past her, out into the rain. And for the first time in months, I felt free. Not because the pain was gone, but because I finally accepted it. Some people are meant to be chapters, not entire books. Lear was my chapter of trust and betrayal, and it was time to close it. It took me a long time to understand what really hurt the most. It wasn't the secret she shared. It wasn't even the gossip. It was that she never truly saw the weight of what she did. To her, it was just a story. To me, it was my life. Over time, I learned that forgiveness isn't about letting someone back in. It's about freeing yourself from the burden of what they did. I forgave her in silence. I didn't call. I didn't text. I didn't need closure from her. I gave it to myself. I realized that people can love you and still hurt you. They can care and still betray you. Not because they're evil, but because they're human, flawed, fearful, and selfish in ways they don't even recognize. That realization didn't erase the pain, but it helped me heal. I started focusing on myself again. I rebuilt the parts of me that she had cracked. I started writing, traveling, laughing again. Life began to feel lighter. I learned to open up slowly, to choose my confidence carefully, to protect my peace above everything else. Sometimes, I still think of her. Not with anger, but with gratitude. She taught me more than she ever realized. She taught me that boundaries are love, that not everyone deserves access to your soul, and that walking away can be the most peaceful kind of victory. If you've ever been betrayed by someone you trusted, I want you to remember this. Betrayal is not the end of your story. It's just the turning point where you begin to choose yourself again. Pain changes us, but it doesn't have to define us. It can teach us strength, empathy, and self-worth. I no longer see betrayal as a curse. I see it as a mirror, one that reflects who truly belongs in your life and who doesn't. Lear's absence created space for better people, real people, the kind who protect your name when you're not in the room. Looking back now, I understand that not all endings are tragic. Some are blessings disguised as loss. The hurt made me wiser. The silence taught me peace. And the betrayal that once felt unbearable became the foundation of my growth. So if you're listening to this and your heart feels heavy, remember that healing doesn't mean forgetting. It means you can remember without breaking. It means you can look back and still smile, knowing that you survived. And maybe, one day, like me, you'll sit by a cafe window on a rainy afternoon, smell the coffee, and smile, not because the memory is gone, but because it no longer hurts. That's the beauty of moving on. You don't erase the story, you rewrite your ending. This was the Voice of Viora, where every story has a heartbeat, and sometimes, even the most painful stories can teach us how to live again.